Need some suspension work and shocks and brakes, brake pads, lining, steering box, transmission, rear end.
Ka-chow.
Just don't see no cars! It works! I love this button!
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
All right, welcome back to the Unnamed Movie Car Podcast, recording at you live from California.
Again.
I want to say, I'm really bad at not...
Again. It is California.
It is California, but...
Again. Yeah.
I'm really bad at not looking up where these things take place.
It's California.
Too long.
It's too long. I got to find something shorter.
Too long of a soundbite.
Okay.
If this is your first time listening, thank you for stopping in. You can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. You'll see my hand-drawn thumbnails on YouTube.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
I think
in crayon this year.
And we wait 10 minutes in order to give spoilers. When we are ready to give spoilers, you will hear... The Ecto one means that we're ready to give spoilers and talk about the movie, but actually today we're talking about a show because we're talking about Knight Rider.
We are, which is great.
We don't do many shows.
Not many. No, but I think we should do more.
I think so too.
Because they are pretty iconic. There's some really great iconic cars in TV shows. Like Rockford Files, they had the Camaro.
No idea what that is. I have no idea what Rockford Files is.
Wow, really?
I know Rockford's a terrible town north of us. I have no idea what you're doing. Literally 0%. I just think you're sundowning right now. Like, I don't know what's going on.
I am sundowning. I've been sundowning since the day I was born.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm an old man. Yeah.
But there's a lot of TV shows that have good car castings. I'd love to do Breaking Bad. At some
actually,
point.
because isn't
really
it
cool.
an Aztec that he drove?
It's a Pontiac Aztec, which is very good car casting.
Yeah, it was.
But then
there was a lot of cars in that movie, actually, or that show.
In the later seasons, he gets a 300 SRT, a Chrysler 300 SRT.
Does he?
And then he buys his son a Dodge Challenger because there was a brand deal with AMC and Dodge.
Oh, really? Oh,
because that same year in The Walking Dead, it was the first season of The Walking Dead, Glenn steals a exact same make, model, year, paint job Dodge Challenger during the apocalypse. And he's like running over zombies in this brand new Dodge Challenger.
It's the same one.
I think it might have been the same press car.
They only get one car out.
Yeah, they had...
It's like a Shelby thing.
There's
only one and they repaint it. Yeah.
They didn't even repaint it, though. It's identical between Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead.
Sorry, guys. We don't have enough money to...
I think it'd be fun though to do an episode about Marvel too, because Marvel has had a bunch of car brand deals.
Actually, that's very true, especially with Iron Man,
Audi for a long time. But then I think
they reigned supreme.
I think it switched for a little bit. There was a couple Hyundais.
It could be.
I think. Yeah. Don't quote me on that.
No, but there's some fun cars in the Marvel movies too, and actually that would be fun to do some of the more current movies.
Yeah. Speaking of current movies, there's a trailer that came out, by the time this episode comes out a little while ago.
For?
The movie Weird. Have you
Weird.
heard
no,
of this?
I've not heard of this. What is this?
It's starring Daniel Radcliffe.
Well,
who plays
Harry
I promise
Potter?
you this isn't a joke.
Harry Potter.
Weird Al Yankovic.
What?
Daniel Radcliffe plays Weird Al Yankovic.
He played Harry Potter,
He played
right?
Harry Potter, yeah.
He's playing
Weird Al Yankovic.
Wow.
Or Yankovic, yeah.
So, yeah. Wow. That, and it's funny, too, because Weird Al, never ages. He always seems to be the same age.
Yeah.
And yet, he was popular when I was in, junior high and high school.
He was popular kind of in the 80s, right?
Yeah, definitely. And he just
AFV
does not...
and all that stuff.
Yeah,
the only thing I remember from AFV is him catching the bullet in his teeth.
You mean UHF?
UHF.
Yes.
I'm thinking of America's Funniest Home Videos.
That's Bob Saget.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Gosh, yeah. That's right. I I about that.
Yeah, I mean, Gilbert Godfrey.
Oh, my gosh.
Bob Saget all this year. Yeah.
Wow.
Wild.
That is crazy, yeah.
But yeah, they're doing a Weird Al Yankovic movie. We might have to do a bonus episode just because I was such a fan of Weird Al growing up.
Yeah.
And I think, well, obviously you were too.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, his songs and the videos that he did with the songs were iconic. They were just as big as the original songs.
It's interesting because
Those are
Weird
true
Al
parodies.
Yankovic was huge.
Yeah.
But he kind of just does what like a YouTuber would do. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't think he would be as big this like in this generation.
Yeah.
Because he would probably just post his stuff to YouTube and they'd probably be big hits. But like viral
Right.
YouTube fame
Right.
is very different than the fame that he had.
Well, because he was doing. You're right. You're absolutely right. There wasn't that outlet that there is now, and because there isn't that outlet, he really had to fight to get his songs on the radio. And
Yeah.
do you know of Dr. Demeno? Have you ever heard
No.
of Dr.
No,
Oh
no.
my gosh.
Well,
Dr. Amano is so cool. I could tell you about it, but and we can save it for later if you want. But
no, I was just gonna say, I think Weird Al is the case where because there was no YouTube, he's bigger than
Yes,
he would
yes.
have been.
Yeah,
Yeah. Where now, like where I guess back in the 80s, 1 out of 100 would get mega famous.
right,
Let's just say 1 out of 100.
Uh-huh.
I know it's like 1 in a million, but
Yeah.
1 in 100. But
That's true.
now
It's more
I
like 1
feel
in a
like
million.
maybe 15 of those 100 get famous,
Yeah.
but they're all not at the level of that one.
No.
If that makes sense.
no, it does
The
make
fame
sense.
is shared among more people. If that
When-
makes sense,
when
because it's
you
easily
had-
accessible.
Exactly. When you had, first of all, no internet, period. Okay, so that alone is a game changer. You got no internet. You got, well, I could go to the movies, but there's not a ton of movies out there, and that's a special event. It's going to see a
Right.
movie, right? So
Yeah.
that wasn't a ton of things going on. You didn't see a movie every day. You had television that you couldn't record. In my era, my day, you couldn't even record a show
I
until
remember
later.
TiVos were a big deal.
They were a big deal. That came after VHS.
That was
and your
like the
ability-
2000s. I
Yeah.
remember Grandma and Grandpa getting their first TiVo.
Did you really?
Yeah,
I
and
remember
it
that, yeah.
came with like a TiVo action figure.
No,
It wasn't like an action figure, but it was like a little.
Bow,
It was like a little figurine
TiVo.
of
Oh,
the
right.
TiVo
Yeah,
guy
okay.
with the little
Yeah, yeah,
gloves
that's right,
and
yeah.
the Mickey Mouse gloves and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing is concerts.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
you could buy the cassette, you could buy the CD, but I mean, music is just so accessible now.
Which, speaking of music concerts,
Yeah,
B-52s are
Yes.
doing their farewell tour,
really.
and one of their stops is the Chicago Theater down in Chicago.
That's just where I was. I just saw.
Really? Yeah?
I just saw Tim Dillon. He's a comedian. When is it?
It's in October. We're not going to go because I can't. When we saw the B-52s, you, me, and Nick.
Yeah.
That to me was the ultimate. There was no topping that.
Yeah.
We had a great time. It was with you guys. Done.
Yeah.
Like that was the best.
Yeah.
This one's going to be downtown. It's going to be packed because there's barely any seats left, and it was the first I got noticed. I got notified by email. I opened it up. It said B-52s. I clicked on it, and there were like 4 tickets left in the pit, which is right in front of the stage.
Right. Yeah.
And they were going for $453. So I was like, do I click on this? Because I would almost do it, but no. Because the when we saw it, that was the best.
Yeah.
There's
That
no
was
topping
definitely that was very, very good.
Yeah, and I can always listen to them and enjoy them and
Yeah.
remember that time. So I was like, yeah, okay.
The other thing that I didn't anticipate, because
Yes?
I went to the Chicago Theater, and it's like a 4,000 person theater or something.
Is
like
it?
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
it's
a
a
good
couple
size.
thousand.
Yeah.
I got really paranoid.
Paranoid.
Because I hadn't been in a crowd like that since
Yeah,
pre-COVID.
that
And
is
I
true
didn't
too.
consider that, and I was like, "Oh my God, there's
Yeah.
so many people."
Yep.
There was
Yep,
one point
that's
where
true.
the opener was on stage, and granted, we were in the nosebleeds. We were in the $35 seats, which whatever. The pit was, I think, like 150, but it's just my friend and I, and we just wanted to go see the comedian. We had seen him before. He's really ridiculously funny. But there was a point where we were up in
was
the
that Tom Segura?
no, it was Tim Dillon.
Oh, Tim Dillon.
Although
okay.
I have seen Tom Segura at
yeah,
the
you,
Chicago
you guys
Theater
liked
as well.
him, didn't you?
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's great.
There was a point where I started feeling a little sick
Yeah.
because granted, it was because of laughter. Everyone was laughing and laughing
Yeah.
and laughing, and I was sitting there and I'm like, "There's so many people here,"
Yes.
and I
lots
was like,
of people
"Oh,"
and
there-
laughing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of air going around.
I know,
man.
and
It's-
the people next to us were like jamming. It was a packed house, sold out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I really didn't think about this.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, no, I get that. I could completely
yeah, it was
empathize with
definitely
you
very,
there.
very weird.
Yeah.
So I think we're pretty much
All
ready.
right,
We're
I
at
think we can.
9:40,
We're gonna-
so
Whoa, hey, you know what that means?
yeah.
That's our spoiler.
Spoilers.
So the Ecto 1 siren, by the way, is
Yes.
our key to that. Yep. So
Knight Rider. Knight Rider. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. This was my pick.
it was your pick.
I had never. The reason I picked this is because I saw it was added to Netflix recently.
Yes.
And again, with these podcasts, don't rely on it being on Netflix. It might
Right.
be taken down
Like
a
in
week
2
later.
seconds.
Yeah.
I've had that happen where there was a show. Someone told me about it.
Our
Yeah.
last movie, Hot Rod.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
was on every streaming
Everything.
platform. That's why we
Yeah.
chose it.
And gone.
And yeah, when we
Boom.
went to go review it,
Gone.
it was gone off of all
So
of them.
sorry, but you can find things. There's a great app called JustWatch.com. That's a great app to find movies. That's what I use all the
Yeah.
time. So
there's also 1-2-3 movies, which if you can quickly exit out of the adult website pop-ups that come up,
okay, all right, yeah.
you can watch free movies.
Okay.
You got to click
Okay.
out of those pop-up windows real quick
okay.
though.
Yeah, so this one, Knight Rider.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes.
But
So
wait,
I hadn't seen any of it. I literally
all?
loaded
Never?
nothing.
Okay, all right.
I literally loaded it
you
up.
suggested it.
I know. Well, here's the thing. Here's the story.
All right, I'm not going to tell. But tell me.
Just if I can
Come
tell the story.
on, tell me.
So I
what
saw it
is
was
it
added
about
to
this?
Netflix. I'm just gonna go. For you, I just have to steamroll you until you shut up. I saw it was added to Netflix.
Yeah.
And then so I clicked on it and I watched just the intro, and it's Kit going across the desert, which is so 80s. But I was like,
so 80s.
but honestly, I didn't think it was cheesy. I was just like, this is the coolest intro ever.
Did it really? Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
because one
It
day
is
I'd
cool.
like
It is
to
cool.
drive my RX-7 out to California for 7
Yeah.
stock.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
immediately thought, how can I recreate this intro with my
You can do it.
RX-7?
You could do it with a drone and your RX-7.
That's true. Drones now exist. So I immediately stopped, and
Yeah.
then I was like, "This is it. This is what we got to do
All
for
right.
the next podcast." So
Okay.
since then, I have now watched probably 10 episodes.
Okay.
So now that's what was your experience going into this? Because you grew up in this era.
I grew up in that era. Knight Rider was, of course, a staple. That was a big. It was an '80s thing. A lot of the shows around that time. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But a lot of the shows were very similar in the way that they. I mean, just the way that they looked, the way that they felt. This was actually a production of Glenn A. Larson. And
Okay.
if you watch not any, but a lot of '80s shows,
Yeah.
that, not really sitcoms, but shows,
Is he-
series, TV series. Glenn A. Larson did a ton of them. We'll talk more about him.
Who
in a
did
little
Ferris Bueller's Day Off in the Breakfast Club?
bit. I was gonna say
John something.
John Hughes.
John Hughes.
Yeah.
He's kind of the TV equivalent of John
Yeah,
Hughes.
pretty much,
Where
kinda,
John
yeah.
Hughes kind of directed everything in the
Yep,
80s.
exactly,
And
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So Glenn A. Larson, and very, very interesting character. I want to learn more about him because after
Mm-hmm.
I watched that, I'm like, Glenn A. Larson, that name rings a bell. And then I looked up on Wikipedia, and of course, all of that's true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everything on Wikipedia is true. I don't, yeah. And
honestly, to be fair, it mostly is.
it is, that is true.
It is
yes.
relatively. Back in the day, it was a wild, wild west. And I
That is
understand
true.
back in
That
junior
is true.
high, they were like, you can't quote Wikipedia. But
Right.
now, like,
yeah. It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
So for this,
Yeah,
I looked
but
it
go
up.
on.
It was very interesting. But anyway, so definitely very 80s. And I had watched this as a kid.
Yeah.
At the time, I mean, this is like around the time in the 80s when I was, I was 1980. I was 13, probably. Yeah, 14 in 1980. So the thing is this show was really built for a 12 to 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
that's what this show really grabbed it onto.
Yeah.
That was the audience, is 12 to 14 boy.
Yeah.
And that was it, because cool car, you were always looking up to David Hasselhoff. Oh, he's a cool, tough guy, right? well, now you look at it and you go, yeah, okay, he's a bad actor. So
Honestly, I didn't mind the acting.
really,
Yeah,
okay,
it
all right,
kind of
well,
has that charm to it.
I
Where
guess.
it's not the best performances.
It's-
especially the cocaine scene that I described. Did you make it to that part where the cocaine gets blown away by Kit because he bursts through the door and the actor's like, "Oh no!" Like it's literally.
No,
like,
I didn't watch that episode. I only watched episode 1 and 2, and then the car.
The car
So
one.
we're going to talk about all those. I hope.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about that.
But what was your impression of actually watching it?
I have a lot of impressions. First of all,
Okay.
it is kind of poorly done. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually went in. This was, I believe, episode 2. These are 3 flaws I saw right away.
Okay.
First of all, Kit goes onto 2 wheels during a race, and the stunt driver is so obviously not. They're so good at cutting around it,
Yeah.
or having tinted windows like the Christine
Yeah.
trick.
Yeah.
But it goes up on 2 wheels. It's a front shot of the car. It's like a medium shot, and it's just not
Yeah.
David Hasselhoff.
You, absolutely can tell, and really, you're absolutely right. You mentioned that, and so as I was watching it, I really watched for the driver, and I laughed out loud when I saw it happen. I was
'cause
like,
you're
"Oh my gosh!"
It's not like,
Not
oh,
even
he had
close.
glasses on. You could tell by the chin.
I mean, that
It
guy was a
wasn't
different
close at all.
ethnicity. That
Yeah.
guy was different. No, he
The
wasn't,
next
but-
one was Kit gets hijacked or carjacked.
Oh right,
And
yeah.
The carjackers do this like donut in an intersection. Did you see this part too?
Yeah.
There's a full steering wheel.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see
If
the
you
full
look in
steering
the
wheel,
car, Kit, because there's obviously a stunt driver
right.
performing this.
Right.
Which, if you know Kit has a yoke, which it's just like one hand on either side. It's like a straight bar for a
Yes.
steering wheel, like
It's not a full circle steering
like an
wheel.
airplane or something
It's,
like
yeah,
that.
right. Yeah, it's like
But
an
then
airplane.
you see it come through the intersection because it's dumb to have a steering wheel like that.
It is,
And you see
for a
Kit
regular
has
car.
a regular steering wheel. Although I will say,
Yeah.
all of the electronics on the inside
Yeah.
in that scene are still there.
Yeah.
It's just they swapped out the
Wow.
yoke for a
Yeah.
single regular steering
Well,
wheel.
and that's what's funny too. We talked about like the first 2 episodes. Did you notice that the voice box for Kit changes when you see the red light? So in the first 2 episodes, there's just a red light that lights up when Kit is talking.
Right.
But then later on, at some point, they changed it to the very iconic kind of VU meter looking
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Where
I
it
did
kind of
notice
goes,
it, yeah.
hey, you know, and as he's talking,
Yeah.
you see the meters, bounce
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Well, it's just a red flashing light in the first couple of episodes. Now, remember too, when this went live, or when this was actually broadcast in the 80s. Do you know that year that this was? I don't know.
82 to 86.
Okay.
It only
So-
had 4 seasons.
Yes. So,
And I saw on Netflix, I was like, oh, they only have the first 4 seasons. Dang. No, there is only 4 seasons.
So-
it is 26 episode season.
Yeah, it is
So
true.
There's over 100
Lots of-
episodes of Knight Rider.
but which is pretty incredible. But the other thing is, back then, it wasn't like streaming. You couldn't go back to the
Right.
first one. You just watched whatever they showed you.
Yeah.
And
there wasn't
you
even-
liked it.
You liked it. Take it.
You take
No,
it.
I mean, the very interesting thing is that it wasn't even, streaming wasn't a thought.
No.
So they kind of thought,
No.
oh, you're going to see this. Maybe you'll see it in a rerun.
Maybe. And reruns, of course, were big.
But you would see a rerun maybe once or maximum you'd see an episode 3 times.
yeah, especially when you have that many episodes of Knight Rider, you had like 26 in each, like 100.
yeah.
You're not going to see many
Yeah.
reruns, and you're not going to catch the same stuff. And even if you did, you couldn't like go back and watch it again like I did this time.
Yeah.
I actually went back and
Right.
went, wait a minute, what
Yeah,
was that?
And
Yeah.
the TVs back then, because this is all in 4:3.
Yes. Yes.
TVs
right.
back then were what is it? I was just talking to my friend about this today. What kind of TV? RTS?
CRT?
No. CRT TVs.
Yeah, CRT, yeah.
CRT
Cathode-
TVs, low
cath-
quality.
I can't say it. Cathode
Just sounds like you have a lisp.
ray tube. It's something ray
Okay.
tube. Cardio ray tube, whatever. It's something.
So
C-ray
this
tube.
stuff wouldn't have been noticeable. The
Yep,
last one
yeah.
I had here was I'll wait till you're done taking a sip because you might enjoy this
Okay,
one.
well, yeah.
When Kit drives itself back to Michael after being stolen. In
Yeah.
the same episode, right after you see the steering wheel,
Yeah.
you see Kit pull up, and it's more of a top-down shot, and you see a hand on the steering yoke,
No.
and then it goes away. When Kit finally pulls up, you see the guy driving the car pull his hand down
After he was stolen?
after he was stolen because Kit auto drives itself back to Michael, and you see Kit
Fake.
roll up.
Fake.
But
I
I
call
will say
fake.
the glove is matching the interior color, but
it
you
does.
see the hand kind of pop down, which
Okay.
I will say one of the
I have to watch that again now.
One of the IMDb trivia facts quotes this exact scene.
Really?
So I am
Okay.
not alone in
You're
seeing
not-
this.
I
I'm not
didn't
just
see it, but
seeing
yeah.
things.
They could get away with a lot because, again, like you said, number one, you couldn't go back. Just like in
Yeah.
a movie, when you're actually watching a movie in the movie theater, you can't rewind, you can't go
Right.
back, and so you got to try and catch things. Some things you miss, blah blah blah. But nowadays, and in the modern times
Yeah.
that we have, you can go back and really scrutinize something.
A couple
so.
other things. A
Yep.
couple other
Yep.
notes about the show.
Good, yeah.
David Hasselhoff isn't very attractive. Like he's not like he's not this like incredibly.
He has nice eyes.
I
think he has nice.
guess.
Yeah, but I mean,
but
you know.
like to me, he's not like a James Bond where he has this like
Oh,
chiseled
like ruggedly handsome
jawline
kind of thing. Yeah, I get you.
ruggedly
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the other thing is that all of the episodes have him and a female co-star.
Yes,
And
always.
it switches at least in the first couple episodes
Yeah.
that I've watched. I don't know if it becomes steady at some point.
Okay.
But there's not a whole lot of romance that goes between them.
No,
It's just like, oh, I'm gonna help out this girl. He's kissed a couple of them.
Oh yeah.
But then
yeah,
it's just kind of like that's it. And not like I'm not saying every episode he needs to bed these women.
right. No.
But it's just like it has best friend energy.
That was okay. So very, very similar to that was, and I think this is where maybe he got some of it because he played a part. What is his name?
David Hasselhoff?
No, Glenn A. Larson.
Oh, okay.
Maybe got some of that from $6 Million Man because he was part of that project. Because $6 Million Man was supposed to be a super secret agent that the government saved this astronaut's life.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to have him go on all of these missions to save the government, and do all these
Yeah.
things. He ends up being like a vigilante, not a vigilante, but he ends up being like a servant of justice or whatever for the average person. So the $6 Million Man ends up going on all these different adventures, but it's like, oh, it's always a single mom with her kid. Just like
Yeah.
in the first episode. It's
Yeah.
just like, okay. And there's never really any full romance except for
guess-
when Lindsay Wagner comes in as the $6 Million woman. There is some romance
Okay.
there. So
I guess it was for TV too, where I'm sure more than a kiss is probably not allowed on TV.
yeah, there wasn't. They didn't want to get into that heavy.
I just find it was kind of funny because I kind of expect him to be like this James Bond,
Yeah.
betting
Yeah.
every woman he sees,
Yeah.
and then it's just kind of like I don't know if did you watch the episode with the biker gang?
No, I did
Okay,
not
so
watch that.
There's an episode
yeah.
where the biker gang is harassing the store while Michael's quote unquote taking a vacation.
Of course.
And he's teaching Kit what a vacation is.
Yeah, it's something like a nice day
Kit's
in
like,
White Rock
what
or
is
whatever.
time off? What is it's like, all right, Kit. Just
All right, kid.
pump the brakes.
Shut up. Yeah.
But it's just this woman and her, I think little brother, who's like 10. She's like 30. Her little brother's like 10.
Well, okay. In that episode, in that episode, I'm thinking of where he gets into a demolition derby.
Oh yeah,
which is hilarious.
Yeah,
'cause-
that's where he goes up on two wheels. But in this
anyway.
episode,
But in that episode, yes,
he just
but-
at first he's like very attracted to her, and it's funny because there's this misconception where he's talking about the sister, but the kid's talking about the car, and the kid's like, "Oh, she's got great lines," and David Hasselhoff's like, "Yeah," which is just weird. But then like nothing really
that was
happens.
creepy. If he
They're
actually
just, like,
said it like that would be creepy.
they're just kind of friends.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
a lot of episodes
all
were
right,
like that.
Sure.
Same thing with $6 Million Man and Oscar Goldman, the actor who played Oscar Goldman in the $6 Million Man, also played the doctor who put back together Michael Knight in the first episode.
Oh yeah, can we talk about that? How they give him plastic surgery?
And it's perfect. I mean, there's like not a scar. There's not anything. Oh my
So
gosh.
that's
yeah.
something I did not know.
I didn't
anything
either.
about. For
See,
the
I
show.
didn't either because I never saw the first episode. Then that's what happened was after it got going, people said, "Hey, you should watch this show, Knight Rider," and then
Yeah.
I started watching, and it had already started. So I never saw, the
So the first
part.
15 minutes, if you've never seen Knight Rider and you want to watch the first episode, don't be confused by the fact that the main character is not played by David Hasselhoff, because then he gets shot in the head. Which, by the way, he has a plate in his forehead.
He has a plate
that
in his
ricocheted
forehead.
bullets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, whatever. So then they give him reconstructive surgery, and he ends up turning into David
Hasselhoff, which is actually pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, but
also, what? I don't really know the point of Knight Industries.
Good question.
They're
Good
just
question.
kind of a vigilante group that solves petty crimes.
Pretty much.
How are they funded?
Who knows?
What's their objective? Is Michael Knight
stop
paid
thinking
by
stop
them?
thinking.
Okay. So
no, you're right. He's not really paid, but they gave him a credit card.
Oh, that's nice.
They did. And in one episode, it's the car episode that we'll talk about too, because we watched the car, Kit versus car.
The $5,000 reward. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that was supposed to be at the end. It was supposed to be hilarious that Michael Knight decided to give him a $5,000 reward, and then the guy in charge of Knight Industries is like, "Oh, Michael, we have to talk about this $5,000 reward," and Michael Knight is like, "Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later." $5,000 to a gazillionaire?
Is he aching for is he like, oh, by the way, like, keep all the gas receipts for Kit.
Give your receipts.
Those are write-offs.
Give your receipts.
Put the receipts in the glove box, if you wouldn't mind, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
that would be hilarious.
Yeah. It's like every time you chase someone, if you could just write down the mileage.
Just make sure and write it down as
really
chase, as pursuit. Write it down as pursuit.
Yeah.
And exactly.
Yeah, we'll give it off to my accountant Glenn, and he'll so we could,
Glenn A. Larson.
Your 1099 is coming.
Glenn
I promise.
A. Larson. Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
it's just it's very odd. But I do think I don't want that to. I love the show, honestly, and I told you.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's
was
not
fun to
often.
watch.
I always watch the stuff while I'm working. I multitask every moment of my
true.
life.
Yes.
I'm writing a book as I'm talking right now.
You probably are.
I'm just,
yes. I see you.
I can't focus on one thing. It drives my girlfriend insane. But I'm never just doing one thing. So I'm always watching a show while working, while editing videos. But actually, for this show, there was a couple times where I stopped what I was doing and just sat and watched.
Did you really?
Which has maybe happened to 5 pieces of media we've done on this podcast.
It's true. There's not many that you've just not like.
Gumball Rally was like that too. But not in a good way.
The Bumgall Rally?
The Bumgall Rally was like that.
Oh my gosh, yes. That was like that, really? You watched that?
There was a couple times where I kind of paused and just kind of stared at it because Gumball Rally had some cool cars on the screen.
They did. There was cool cars on the screen. There's no doubt
Apex, the story of the hypercar.
Yes.
I just laid in bed and just watched it.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah. I was on my phone.
It's a very cool looking... That was a very cool looking documentary. That was
but
cool.
it really drew me in. I mean, being a fan of the 80s, sometimes I have imposter syndrome with it because I was born in the late 90s.
Yes.
But I associate with the 80s so much.
You
I have
do
an
a
80s
lot.
car.
You actually do.
I love 80s music. I actually just paid someone to make another 80s song that I could use on YouTube.
That's great. That's great.
Which I can insert maybe at the end of the episode. At the end of the
that'd be
episode,
cool.
I'll play the song.
Yeah, because you own it. Because you own it.
I own it. There's actually an iMovie stock song.
Yeah.
That it's just like and I've used this for the intro.
Oh, really?
Of Rotary Life, my RX-7 series for the last 7 years.
All right.
And I said, you know what? I actually did this yesterday. The guy got it to me today, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I sent the song off to this guy, and I was like, can you do a synth version of this stock audio from iMovie?
Yeah.
And he was like, sure, no problem. So he sent it to me. And so it's like this super 80s version.
Oh, great.
Of
I'd
this
love to
song
hear
I've
that.
used
I got to
for,
hear that. You got to put it at the end.
Yeah, I'll
really
put it
good.
at the end. But so watching this, there's just so much 80s eye candy. Apparently every third person drove a Volkswagen Bug, according to this show. There's so many Volkswagen Bugs in the background.
Lots of them.
So many RX-7s in the background.
I didn't see
There's
that.
one clear as day in the episode that with the biker gang. You didn't get
to. All right. Yeah.
where this actually a kid's getting beat up, like an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And you see in the background, it must have been a GSL because it had the plus sign wheels that my car had.
Yeah.
It's super, super. You see Datsun Z's all the time.
Oh, yes. You
the very
definitely
first
do.
episode, one of the girls is driving a Z.
Yep. I noticed that.
I mean, just so much eye candy for 80s stuff, which is just funny because back in the day, that wasn't the point of the show.
Yeah,
But for me, seeing all that stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
The 80s music. And
Yes.
like I said, there is just a charm of just 80s bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
movies.
definitely bad. Definitely bad, but fun. And
I said it again today. I think I said this on the last podcast. I have coined a term called macaroni and cheese styling. I talked about this last episode, but in case you didn't watch it, I reviewed another car today. It was a Buick LaCrosse.
Yes.
And it was the exact same one that my grandma and grandpa had when I grew up.
Oh, right.
And so I actually did a part where I defocused the camera in the back seat.
Yeah.
And then just took footage of just driving, and then I overlaid AM radio of the Chicago Cubs because that's what Grandpa always played.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was this out of focus, fuzzy shot with the car sound in the background and just some dude yammering about the Cubs at like 8 a.m. going to a garage sale on Saturday morning.
Yes, always.
But there's this term I've coined myself, property of shooting cars 2022, called macaroni and cheese styling for these older cars where they're very blobby. They're not very attractive.
Correct.
In the 2000s. But to me, they have so much nostalgia with them, and it's a sort of comfort food of cars.
Yes.
I felt that way about watching Knight Rider.
Really?
Is that it's campy, it's stupid. It's,
it is. And
you laugh at parts that I don't think the production crew meant for you to laugh at, like the stunt driver, and we'll get into the episode of Car.
Yes, we will.
At the same, like it's just kind of comfort food to me, and like
it is.
It's just fun and stupid, and it brings me joy, even though I recognize that it's not cool or hip or whatever.
It's very awesome, and it's cool that you think that way. And just so people know, we did watch the first episode, which was a two-parter.
First and second episode, and then episode 6 of season 3.
Is it episode 6? Oh, yeah, you're right. It is episode 6 of season 3, which is Kit versus Car.
Which I realized was the return of Car.
Yeah, but I couldn't find the original one. I couldn't.
I didn't look for the original one.
You didn't?
No, I didn't look.
I looked through every single one because I wanted to see the first one.
Right.
Because they say, in this episode, they say, oh, we blew it up. You and I watched it blow up.
Yeah, I figured. So then watching the episode, I was like, oh, I guess I missed an episode, which is fine. I was going to go back anyway. But we already said in the last podcast that we do season 3, episode 6. So I was like, let's stick with this. If
I
couldn't
find it. I couldn't find. Now maybe it exists.
I plan on watching more. So
see if you find it, because
if I find it,
it's supposed to be the second time that Car exists.
Season 3, episode 6 is called Car. So there's Kit. KITT.
Night Industries 2000. That's what it stands for. And then they introduce
Car, which is Kit's evil twin.
Yes, which stands for Night. What is it? Night Autonomous Roving Robot or something like that.
You got it right.
Night Automatic Roving Robot.
So there's Kit and Car.
Kit and Car.
So first of all, it starts off with Kit being discovered by a guy.
Car.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Car being...
Hold on. Pause. Hold. So the episode starts off with Car being discovered on a beach by a guy with a metal detector.
Yeah.
Which, first of all, I guess people in the 80s had nothing to do than to just detect metal on the beach.
First of all, let's go back even further than that.
Yeah.
If you were detecting metal on a beach, you had to wear really bad shorts and did you notice that he had like a sleeveless shirt, like a tank top, basically, but he hadn't shaved, and he was really hairy around where the arm things were, where the sleeves should be. He was super hairy, like body hair.
I'll be honest, most of the looks in this show are not good. I mean, it's
Right,
funny
yeah.
because everyone, when I was in high school, we had like an 80s day.
Yeah.
And so girls would blow out their
Oh,
hair.
yeah,
and
definitely,
do the
yeah.
thick makeup, and everyone
Yep.
would wear leg warmers.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
guys would wear jeans and white tees and put fake cigarettes in the. Wait, no, that's like
That's
50s
50s.
greaser.
That's 50s.
Wait, what would the guy? Oh, we had like propeller
parachute
hats and
pants?
stuff.
Well,
pants, all that
parachute
stuff.
pants was a big thing,
Um,
and so was like the Eddie Murphy had this red suit with lots of zippers in it.
Oh yeah, from
lots of
oh
zippers.
shoot, what was his
Michael
comedy
Jackson.
special?
Oh,
What was Eddie Murphy's?
Delirious.
Delirious. That's
But Michael-
like the
yeah.
comedy special.
but Michael Jackson really started a lot of that out with having a
Pepsi.
lot of but having a lot of costumes that he would wear that had a lot of zippers. They had zippers everywhere, parachute pants, the whole thing.
In
yeah.
high school, we had an 80s day. We'd
Yeah,
always dress
so
up
you
like
dress
this.
up like that, yeah.
I guess the 80s were not like that. Everyone
Not really.
was kind of ugly.
No, pretty much. I mean, I had a pair of the shorts very similar to what the guy was wearing on the
God.
beach. It was awful. And there's pictures of me somewhere with those, and Mom laughs her head off.
I hope
every
I
time she
never
sees them.
see them.
I hope so.
If this
I hope not.
podcast ever just
Okay.
randomly ends,
Yeah.
just know that it was because I saw the photos. It's like,
Yeah,
you know
it'd be
what?
pretty bad.
You know what? That's what's in the box in Pulp Fiction.
That's what's in the briefcase.
That's what's in the briefcase.
In the
that
briefcase,
everyone, with the
pictures of my
lights-
shorts
Yeah,
from
it's-
1980s
Oh, jeez.
and my bird legs.
So anyway, he's wearing this terrible outfit, and he's
got
metal
hair
detecting.
growing out everything. Yeah, he's metal detecting.
And the thing starts going off the charts.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it looks like he's standing right over it.
Right.
Then he notices
Yes.
the thing that's making the metal detector go off the charts is about 100 yards to his left.
It is. It's not. It's behind him. It's not
And
even
it's-
close to him.
It's a car covered in sand.
Yes.
Which, how would that happen?
Good
did
question.
It wash did it
Good
fall off a
question.
ship?
Don't know.
It never gets explained.
Never gets explained.
The guy and his girlfriend wipe the car off.
Yes.
It's car.
It's Carr. Karr.
Karr, who's identical to Kit. Besides, it has an orange light.
Yes. In the
and
front.
also it gets silver.
yellowish orange.
It gets
I was
silver
gonna
designs.
mention that.
But
No
like halfway
explanation.
through the episode,
No explanation about that.
I think it's
Nothing.
because they were. Spoiler alert! They fight each other at the end.
yes,
Kit and
it-
Carr, and I think they needed a distinguishing factor.
Yes, exactly.
But why wouldn't they
I
do
also
it from
think
point A?
I also think they're all on crack. But anyway,
Probably.
yeah. So or cocaine back
Actually,
then.
the original concept for Carr was going to be bright white
Yeah.
with a blue light at the front to be the exact opposite colors
No.
of Kit. Yeah, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, fine.
But the production team, didn't want to paint a black car white because that would take way too much work.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
And
Yeah.
B, it said online that they didn't want to have the typical white versus black
Okay.
stereotype. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but you have every other stereotype in
Yes.
this show. Like,
Yes, they
why
do.
draw the line there?
The guys who stole the car, remember that first episode?
Yeah.
You talk about stereotyping
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, almost uncomfortable. And I was like, that was very cringy. I was like, oh man.
But anyway, then he just gets in the car and drives it into town.
Yeah.
I guess that just
what-
happens.
What gas was in that tank?
What gas was in the tank? People in this town just steal cars, I guess.
Evidently, I guess it's okay.
And
All right.
then it ends up, Carr has this plan, and he starts kind of Christine E. brainwashing this guy.
Yeah.
Somehow Carr makes a guy's pacemaker fail.
Yeah, I don't know how
That's
that
kind of
happens.
A weird power.
Not sure how that happens. And it's funny too because you see the guy's pacemaker and Carr goes, pacemaker, huh?
And then it just like crossfades to a different
Right.
scene.
And it's like, wait, the car, not only could the car detect that he was wearing a pacemaker, but also had like I'm not going to expose
Yeah.
to anyone my plan. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, like, what?
It's very odd, although like it is kind of cool that there's like an evil version of
Yeah,
Kit.
I mean, it's fun.
that is kinda
It's
cool.
always fun.
But basically, he makes this guy. He basically blackmails this guy that found him for 40 minutes straight.
Yeah, exactly.
And then at the end, Kit and Carr fight.
Yes, which is kind of the worst car fight I've ever seen.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Because they don't have appendages.
No.
So it's
No.
like watching two rocks fight. It's
Right,
weird.
exactly.
And they end up jumping into one another.
Yes.
And did you get my point of like they jump into each other, car dies,
Yes.
I guess.
Car, literally a million pieces. Like it just shatters.
Explodes.
Yeah.
And then, all right, episode over.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, oh,
all right, let's
okay.
drive away.
And then, of course, they did the thing where it shows one of the shrapnel pieces of car, and it's just sitting there, and then it lights up.
Now let's think about one thing here. At the end of that, the
Yeah.
end of that duel,
Yeah.
what happened to the guys in the armored car? Did they just leave them there?
Oh, yeah.
There were guys in an armored car on a bridge above them, and they had literally blown up both sides of the bridge in front of the car, in front of the armored car, and behind the armored car. So the guys in the armored car are stuck.
Yeah.
They can't move, and the bad guy car threatens to basically blow up the bridge so that the guys in the armored car will die.
But also,
Yeah.
what does car want with the money?
Well, it doesn't really want anything to do with the money. It actually it's a symbol.
No, because
No,
here's the thing.
yeah.
So Carr meets this other dude,
Yes, the pacemaker dude.
the pacemaker dude, who's
Yeah.
like, oh, if you want cash,
Yeah.
we can rob this armored car.
He's
And
the
then-
one who owns the. I'm sorry. Well, I'll get back to this. He owns the marine boat repair shop that the other guy works for.
The guy
John.
who discovered
John.
Carr
Well, yeah, John
works for.
yes, who was doing the on the beach? He was doing
Right.
the
Metal detector.
metal detector.
So,
yes, yeah.
so pacemaker guy's like, oh, we could rob this truck.
Yes.
He's like, oh, we have this car that's indestructible. Let's go rob this truck.
Yep. Right.
And then Carr is like, I don't want money.
Right.
I don't need money. I'm a
Yep.
car.
Yep. And he goes, well, you don't realize it, but you need money.
But you need money for maintenance, all this stuff,
right,
whatever.
being fixed. Yeah.
But then Carr kind of disregards the pacemaker guy, whose idea it was
Yes, he does.
to steal the money.
He does.
So
Well, so the whole idea of that, though, was knowing that there would be people inside the vehicle that he could threaten. Because it's funny because the John, who is the Minecraft dude, what is he? He's the no, he's just sweeping the beach. What?
metal detector.
Metal
What is with
detector.
you today? You can't remember metal detector?
Metal detector. Anyway, the guy with the metal detector, John, his girlfriend gets stuck in the car, and Carr decides to turn up the heat, and it turns it up for like a minute to 125 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not gonna kill you for 1 minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you think about it. If you
I did drive a Mercedes today that goes up to 90. You can set the inside temperature to 90
that doesn't
degrees.
surprise me because the people that drive those cars like their heat high.
Oh yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna say, well, it is a German car. Heyo.
What? Oh, jeez.
But yeah, that took you a
Wow,
second.
that's yeah.
That was
That was nice.
Anyway.
That was a,
Anyway, the morals of this episode were very confusing.
yes, they were. Like you could steal a car if you want, and at the end it's going to be okay because you're a halfway decent guy because you're John with the metal detector,
Right.
And it's okay because
Yeah.
you
Wait,
whatever.
who ended up actually getting a reward at the
Yeah,
end?
he did. He gets his own marine shop.
He gets $5,000, which is enough to buy the marine shop
yeah.
that he was originally wanting to buy, but
Yes.
didn't have the money. And then
Right.
Carr talked him into doing these things to get the money.
Right. Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
And the old woman at the ATM. Let's not forget the woman at the ATM.
Yeah, that he gave like $100 to.
Gives $100 or whatever to this old woman. So I guess that's kind of the it's kind of the save the cat moment when it's
Yeah.
like you do something nice and you're supposed to show that he's a nice person deep down, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I mean, these episodes are bubblegum. What I would call bubblegum episodes where it's sickening sweet, it's super, it's like bubblegum pop music where it's just kind of, you know, it's just super,
It's not
super
making
easy.
a statement,
No,
but it's also
it's
not
not.
the most boring thing in
No,
the world.
It's not.
It's just something to
sugar.
throw
It's-
on and-
Yeah, it's just
See, so like with these episodes, as I started going on, I was just working, and I would just look up every once in
Yeah.
a while. And
yeah.
I also had no idea. Getting back to the car, since this is a car podcast,
Yep.
I had no idea how big of a role Kit played.
Oh yeah, huge.
I thought because I'm very aware of like the memes and the jokes and the ripoffs that have been done with this. I thought it was about this secret agent or cop, or I didn't really know who, but just this secret agent guy, whatever.
He's a lifeguard.
Wow.
Baywatch
Yeah, heyo.
later. Yeah.
I thought it was very much like a James Bond scenario
Gotcha.
where he gets this car.
Yeah.
You don't really see the car all that much.
Right, but
the
it's tricked out.
DB5
It's tricked
originally,
out.
yes.
Yeah.
But like in later movies and stuff, the car was never more than 15% of the focus.
Right.
It's like 50-50 focus.
Yes.
And a lot of the storylines are progressed by the car itself or car
Absolutely right. He's there for a lot of exposition.
Right.
And it's like, Michael, we have to do this now. And it's like, okay, so that advanced the plot by just literally telling you exactly what you have to do. It's very, very simple.
So I do have some trivia here for Kit, if you'd like to get into that.
Sure, yeah.
I would like to say I accidentally first typed in cut. K-U-T-T.
K-U-T-T, yeah.
So Cut Calhoun was born January 1st, 1977 in Kansas City.
Wow,
he discovered his talents in the YMCA as a child, and his album Black Gold was number 13 in the United States in 2013.
That's, I wanted to know that. Thank you.
K-U-T-T.
Yeah.
Calhoun is a rapper.
Really? Cut Calhoun?
Yeah, spelled K-U-T-T, not K-I-T-T.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, basically.
Hey, my name is Cut.
I
keep my
really
mouth
don't.
shut.
Is that the first song on Black Gold? Yeah, okay.
It is.
So these are pulled from mentalfloss.com. These couple ones. So
cool.
William Daniels, who voiced Kit,
Yes.
and is never credited for it, which is
He's
weird.
not.
No.
He's not. Oh, okay, yeah.
So he was on another soap opera at the time.
He was?
And in between shoots, he would just go and record.
Yeah. Well, that was a super easy gig, but go ahead, yeah.
Which we'll get to in a second. But William Daniels and David Hasselhoff didn't meet until the show's Christmas party.
Really?
Following the first season.
Oh my gosh, that's
so
hilarious.
Kit and Michael Knight talking to each other
The entire time.
But they never actually physically met.
Wow.
Which is interesting that they didn't have or William Daniels on set.
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
don't
they
know.
would want that.
Yeah.
Just to I don't know.
William Daniels, did you look up his IMDb at all or anything?
No.
Okay. I believe he plays Higgins, in Magnum P.I.
Oh, okay.
If he
That's
does...
a show we should do at some point, too, with the Ferrari.
Well, okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll do that someday.
Next up, Daniels worked for less than an hour per episode.
Really?
So
okay,
William
yeah.
Daniels recording the lines for Kit, he would literally just go to a booth, record for less than an hour.
Yeah.
So as of right now, we're at about 46 minutes. The amount of time we've been talking is about how much William Daniels would work per episode of Knight Rider. So I thought that was kind of funny. And hey, I would gladly take that gig, I swear.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, yeah.
What are you looking up?
I'm looking up William Daniels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Next,
Because I want to see if he was a Magnum PI, and I'll get back to that
okay,
in a minute. Okay. So, you can go on with your trivia.
But for now, enjoy these quick messages.
We'll be right back.
Are you tired of throwing up in the sink? I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Yes, I am.
Aww. Anyway, get our car insurance.
That would be a great.
That's the worst ad ever.
That would be. Go ahead.
Getting back to the trivia, the car originally went by another name when the series was in early production. The original name for Kit was TAT, T-A-T-T.
No.
Which stood for Trans Am 2000.
Oh.
So Kit's original name was going to be TAT, T-A-T-T. Which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
During Knight Rider's first 2 seasons, Kit was based off an F-body Pontiac Trans Am with minimal alterations, and it was dressed up by Universal's prop department. The major change were the red strobe lights to give the car life as it was interacting with Michael, but not much else made Kit stand out from the standard Trans Am. The production would have another... at the time, the production had about 4 Kit cars costing about $18,000 a piece to modify.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
well,
each car was
alright,
about
yeah.
$18,000 to modify. It was during production on season 3 that Kit got a bit of a facelift. He got spoilers, wings, and a new hood scoops
Oh, wow.
that were just
okay.
some cosmetic jeez, I can't read.
Cosmetic?
Cosmetic.
Well, you're sundowning yourself.
I'm sundowning, yeah. Just because of the cosmetic additions that were made, you're going to want to listen to this,
I'm listening.
that were made by George Barris.
No.
Yes.
George
we owe
Barris.
him an apology.
Oh my God! Oh, that's right. We
Because we made fun of
Yeah, we
him
did.
for signing
Yes,
Kit
for
because he
yeah.
didn't design Kit,
You're
which,
right.
to be fair, he didn't. However,
didn't.
he's responsible for adding the spoiler. He added the hood scoops and side skirts for seasons 3 and 4. So,
Okay.
George Barris, who also designed Adam West's Batmobile and the Munster coach, added to the car. It took 8 weeks to complete each car, but the new version was set Knight Rider's trademark set of wheels apart from anything else on the road.
Yes, very true.
So,
I mean, and they did. It was kind of
season 3 and 4, Kit looked less like a standard Firebird.
right.
Where in
and
season 1 and 2, he was just a Firebird with red lights, and then the interior, obviously.
You're right, exactly. Which, if you think about it, that actually would have been a more cool way to do an undercover car
Yeah.
because you couldn't tell from the outside that it was a
Right.
special car. Yeah.
For scenes where Kit had to appear driving itself, George Barris created a right seat driving position inside of the car that dipped below the dashboard. From the passenger side, a stunt driver was then placed in a special seat that sat low enough to avoid detection on camera, but high enough to see where he was going.
Wow.
This was all part
Okay.
of Barris's job on the show. In addition to creating a more unique look for Kit in the later seasons, he was also in charge of creating different models of the car, all for the sake of specific stunts that could make for more unique action sequences.
Okay, so yes,
So
totally.
we owe George Barris
yes,
a large
we do.
apology.
Sorry, George Barris,
making fun of him.
wherever you are, but thank you. I'm
Well,
sorry.
He
and,
passed away a while ago.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he passed away.
Okay. All right.
So,
yeah.
you know,
rest in peace.
say hi to Gilbert and
Wow.
Bob
yes.
Saget for us.
Yeah. Exactly. Wow. Okay. All right. Let me.
But yeah, so that's all I have
times.
from that was all from mentalfloss.com.
Okay.
But now I do have IMDb, and I have
Cool.
quite a bit of IMDb
Really?
trivia.
Okay. Great.
All about the car too.
Okay. Great.
mostly.
Perfect. Let's go.
So
what
this
year was the car, by the way?
is 1982 Trans Am.
Was it? Okay.
1982.
Yeah. Did you say that before?
I did not.
Okay.
So there you go.
1982. So that was like a brand new car back then.
Yes.
Which is funny because in the first episode, remember the girl? No, it was the first episode. The girl's like, "Ooh, cool car." You
Yeah.
know? And it's like,
Did it?
that-
Yeah. Did it ever specify if that was his specific car that they upfitted?
yeah. They did.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
because he was like, "What'd you do to my car?" And
Yes.
the guy's like, "Well, it's not your car anymore." And I was like, "Is
It was his car, from what I
Okay.
understand. In the
imagine
first
if he
episode.
drove like a Pinto, and they got it in, and they're like, "Oh, come on, we got to make this thing autonomous."
It was like a
They just modified whatever car
It was
he
a
had.
Ford Festiva.
Right? What if he had like a Ford Festiva with 265,000 miles on it, and they're like, "Oh God, it's got the dreadful 1.2 liter in it,"
Uh-huh.
and they're like, "I mean, what do we even do here?"
Jeez.
I mean, what?
That's what they were all going.
Hey, boss, you want me to
But-
put
yeah, but-
electronics in this? I don't know why he's like Italian.
Well, what's funny is that the main technician auto mechanic for Kit is this woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but it's a character. She's a knockout. She's very good looking. Not a no grease under the fingernails.
Yeah.
She's not a Letty from
Yeah.
the Fast Five kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's like a really, and her hair is like completely 80s where it's
Yeah.
all puffed out and everything. Yeah, that's not believable.
Yeah.
not even in the smallest bit. But go ahead.
So, trivia brought to you by, but in no
Yep.
way sponsored by IMDb. Did you ever find the Wikipedia of the guy?
I
Was he
did.
on Magnum PI?
Yeah, I did. So, do you want me to do that first, or do you want to do your trivia
Yeah,
first?
do that first. You seem to be itching at the bit,
Well, chomping at the bit.
chomping at the bit, itching at the
Whatever.
jock strap. I don't know.
No, I
it's
found
just a
this
yeast
about
infection.
Glenn Larson. So let me. Here's some of the here's some of the TV shows that he was involved in,
Okay.
and this is why I found it fascinating. Smith and Jones, or Alias Smith and Jones. That was an old western, not a big deal. Battlestar Galactica. Okay, huge.
Okay, interesting. We'll be talking about that.
Will we? Mm-hmm. Okay. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, another huge show that I grew up on.
Was that
That was with Aaron Gray.
Buck Rogers, was that in space?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So very
But
much
not,
like
that's
that.
different than Lost in Space.
It is very different than
Okay,
Lost in
with
Space.
the
Absolutely.
giant square robot.
Yeah. Just yes. Warren Will Robinson. Yeah. The whole thing. Also,
hold on. Sorry, pause, because I just
No.
thought of it.
Yeah.
Totally off
Yeah.
topic. I thought it was very weird that the main character's name is also Michael in this show because of 2000: A Space Odyssey. Because HAL 9000 isn't HAL 9000, isn't the main astronaut named Michael?
no, Dave.
Dang it, I totally got that wrong then.
So he goes, Dave, what are you doing, Dave?
Yeah, I thought it was yeah, that doesn't. What are you doing, Michael?
It would be great.
Daisy,
It would be great. No, to
Daisy.
take the kid stuff and put it over the HAL.
Oh, I'm
fiction.
sure someone's done that, or reverse. Put the HAL over there. Okay,
Exactly.
never mind.
All right,
Block
so
that from
we're-
your memory. Okay,
all right, we're
get
gonna do
back
it.
to
So
this
anyway,
guy.
so Battlestar Galactica, he's involved in this. The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo, if you were in the 80s, that was a big one. Quincy, M.E., Quincy Medical Examiner. That was a big show. Quincy was big.
Was it kind of quirky, but it's also like Quincy's me? Like, is
No,
that
it
how they
wasn't
played
like
it?
that.
Like,
No, it was
Okay.
no, it was definitely not that. The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew Mysteries, BJ and the Bear, another big one.
Nancy Drew is way bigger than.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
but, yeah, go on.
BJ and the Bear was a big one. The Fall Guy with Steve Austin. He wasn't Steve Austin, but the
Stone
guy.
Cold Steve Austin.
No. Let
me get a hell yeah.
Can you smell what the stone is cooking?
That's-
Or no.
That- Can you smell what the stone is cooking?
Did I mix up a couple of those?
Yes. Can you smell what the rock is cooking?
God. I think that I was trying to do Hulk Hogan, and I didn't.
That
I
was
missed.
Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock all thrown together.
All right, I missed all those together. But can you smell what the rock's cooking?
Can you
'Cause
smell
that's
what the Stone Pebbles
I
cooking?
don't, I don't know.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! Now I can't even read this because I'm laughing too hard. The Fall Guy, Magnum PI. So he actually
yeah.
did Magnum PI, which is funny because William, whatever his name is that we just said,
Yeah.
not William Dunning or William Hertz or whatever. He actually played the voice. He did the voice of Mike,
Yeah.
or he did the voice of Kit. He also plays
William
Higgins.
Daniels.
William Daniels
Yeah.
plays Higgins in Magnum PI, which came later, which had a ton of seasons, lasted a long time. One of Glenn A. Larson's biggest hits was Magnum PI, and of course Knight Rider. So what's interesting is he was also in a band called the Four Preps, and it was a
Oh.
very 50s band that was in a
Weird.
couple Gidget movies or whatever. But what I found very interesting was what was some of the. So his career is very interesting. Go to Wikipedia and look it up if you want. It's a lot of fun to read. But there was also some criticisms, and one of them was from James Garner, who was in the Rockford Files. He was the one, and he said he used to call him what do you used to call him? Glenn. What is it? All right, go ahead and.
What's crazy about all of that really long career that he had,
yes.
is that the whole time he was actually played by Christian Bale. Which is crazy. Christian Bale actually lost 40 pounds
my gosh, yeah.
to play William Daniels all
oh my
throughout
gosh.
the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But anyway, so
he called him Glenn Larceny. He called him Glenn A. Larceny. Glenn Larceny because he actually stole entire scripts from the Rockford Files, another TV show, and just literally changed the dialogue and the characters.
Oh, wow.
Not the dialogue, even. They changed some of the names and some of the characters, but that's it.
For Knight Rider?
I don't know if it was Knight Rider, but he said he stole it for a
interesting.
couple other shows. So the idea was that he actually stole entire scripts, and evidently like everyone knew it, and he was actually reported to the Screen Actors Guild of America, or whatever, the Screenwriters Guild of America. Anyway, so go ahead. But yeah, I just found it very, very interesting. This guy's actually fascinating. That would be a great documentary to do, because so many people knew these iconic shows in the 80s. But go ahead.
So getting back to trivia, brought to you by, but in no way sponsored by, IMDb. In many of the Kit's jumping scenes, the vision cuts to another angle, such as Michael driving before landing. This is because, more often than not, the front end of the stunt car is heavily damaged upon landing.
Oh, sure. They did the same thing.
So many.
They did the same thing with Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, you never see the General Lee land.
No, because and when you do, because sometimes you do, you see it buckle.
You see it buckle and then find the next scene.
Yeah, it's a different color.
Yeah, it's whatever.
So that's funny. Yeah,
Pontiac, who supplied the Trans Am for the series, found itself swamped with customer requests for black Firebird Trans Ams with T-tops, tan interiors, and red lights on the front bumper, just like the show. So people would actually go to Pontiac and be like, "Can I get them red lights in the front?"
That's a good impression.
I want one of them red blinkies.
I want the lights that go shoo 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 shoo.
Yeah, I want one of them things that go round, round. You know,
one of those things.
I want it black. I want it T-top.
Tan interior,
I want tan interior, and I want that thing go round, round
and
on the front.
I want the steering wheel that ain't a steering wheel. That's it.
I want you to take the steering wheel. I want you to cut the top, cut the bottom off. Just leave me the sides. So yeah, which
the redneck kid.
Pontiac had a good 70s and 80s thanks to just a movie and a TV show.
No kidding. Absolutely. They built
talk about brand deals.
You know, I'm going to have a car company where all we do is movie cars.
Just movie cars. That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
No long shots of Kit are ever seen changing into super pursuit mode since Kit is not moving at all. A shell of the Kit body was used when filming the transformation to super pursuit mode since large hydraulic rams were needed to articulate the body panels and there was no room for an engine or running gear in the car.
All right.
We didn't get to one of the episodes with Super Pursuit Mode, which is only in the 4th season.
Right.
I read that it was used to kind of keep people interested. Kit had a pursuit mode where like fenders would come out of nowhere and he would transform a little bit.
And in the beginning,
spoilers.
Yes, in the beginning, Super Pursuit Mode was nothing more than turbo, basically.
Right.
That was it. He could go fast.
The jumping car was a hollow fiberglass Trans Am.
Did it do that?
No, that good use of the sound though. Oh, here's the Battlestar Galactica one.
Okay.
So Kit has a roving red sensor on the hood.
Oh
it
my
is
gosh.
modeled after the Cyclone's roving eye from Battlestar Galactica of 1978. Cylon, sorry.
Yeah.
And also has the same sound effect of it moving as the Cylon's eye made. Not that. That's not the right sound
That's
effect.
not it? Okay.
No, that's not the sound.
He goes...
But I thought that was interesting that you brought up Battlestar Galactica. Yeah.
You see, I'm doing it.
There you go.
Whoa, it feels like I'm watching the show.
But what's funny is also the Cylon. I'll show you sometime. The Cylon, if you look at the face of a Cylon, which is like a robot basically that has that eye that goes back and forth, just like Kit.
Yeah.
It looks like the front of, I think, for a few years, I think the Audis or the Buicks. It's hilarious because if you look at it, you'll never look at a car like that again.
Buick.
I'll show you. I'll show you. But yeah, it's definitely something that I found hilariously interesting. But go ahead.
The Auto Cruise car was a right-hand drive car so that Hasselhoff could get into the car without cutting the scene. So basically, yeah. So the auto drive cars in the later seasons were actually right-hand drive Trans Ams. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. So
wait a minute. What do you mean the auto drive cars?
So I guess in the later seasons there was one where Kit can drive itself.
Right.
So there were scenes where Kit was driving itself, but it was just driven from the right-hand side.
Okay.
And then, so David Hasselhoff could get into the, quote, driver's seat.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because
so, yeah.
that in that scene where I see the hand on the steering wheel, you see him start to get into the car. I have to steamroll you again. You see him start to get into the car, but then it cuts because he was probably just sitting on the guy in the driver's seat.
Right.
But
exactly,
anyway.
yeah.
Car Night Automated Roving Robot, the evil Trans Am,
Night Automated. That's it. Night Automated Roving. Yeah.
was the prototype for KITT, but its system had only been programmed for self-preservation, whereas KITT is programmed to preserve human life.
Okay,
Its
gotcha.
evil twin was not.
Gotcha.
The voice of Carr was done by Peter Cullen,
Peter Cullen.
who is probably best known for his voice as Optimus Prime.
No.
Such a fantastic
Wow.
voice.
That's
and then
very
he's
cool,
also he's also been the voice of Predator and Eeyore in Winnie the Pooh.
No.
Yeah, so Peter Cullen is very
Wow.
He's done a lot of voice acting, but I thought that was cool.
Wow,
So
that is
Optimus
very
Prime,
cool. Yeah. Optimus Prime.
Probably around the same time because the Transformers cartoon was in the 80s.
Yeah, the cartoon was. Yeah, the cartoon
and
was definitely, yeah.
So Peter Cullen's been the only person to play Optimus Prime.
Really?
I think in the video games they might have gotten someone else.
But you mean
in-
even the recent ones?
Yes, it's
Wow,
all Peter
okay,
Cullen.
that's cool.
There's
That's
an
very cool.
amazing clip on YouTube.
Yeah.
He was at some Comic-Con panel or something.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he found the voice of Optimus Prime.
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
he was like, someone told him that you have to be strong enough to be gentle because he was this over like, I'm Optimus Prime. But that like all this stuff is like now it's like super low and it's like, I am Optimus Prime.
Okay.
So
gotcha, yeah.
it's very interesting and his voice is very
Yeah,
sweet.
it's
but I didn't know that he played Carr. Thought that was kind of funny.
yeah, that is very fun.
In season 1, episode 2, Night of the Phoenix, while KITT is driving back from the sheriff's station,
Yeah.
the driver is seen hidden in the driver's
Wow.
seat. Before Michael gets into the car, the driver's arm is visible, clearly hidden with upholstery.
I will definitely have to watch
Yeah,
that again
it's
just for
great.
fun
It's
because
great.
I would love to see that. Yeah.
KITT, the Knight Industries 2000, was
Yep.
a customized 1982 Pontiac Trans Am. The 1982 model year was the first year of the third generation, which lasted from 1982 to 1992 F-body, which shared with the Chevy Camaro of the time. So Mom's Camaro
Cool. Yes.
rode on the same platform as KITT. Was
Yeah,
also
you know,
an
now that
F-body.
makes sense. That makes sense, actually.
And was a complete redesign for the second generation, blah, blah, blah. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Mythbusters did a Knight Rider themed myth in their Big Rig Myths episode, season 5, episode 11, in which they tested if KITT could actually get into a mobile command center at a speed.
Yes.
They ended up
yes,
finding
yes.
out that it was plausible.
Yes, it is. It is
which
possible.
is cool.
Yeah.
Tons of sparks fly, but
Yes, it is
you'll
true.
damage the door, but you could drive into the back of a moving truck.
Well, and what was hilarious is I never thought about it before, but couldn't they just stop, let him drive in, and just keep going then after
Yeah, I
that?
don't know why they couldn't have a meetup point or whatever.
Right, or
but,
just say, hey, drive in the back.
Something I do
Just stop.
remember is there was a game that we had for PlayStation 2 called Spy Hunter.
Okay.
Remember this?
Vaguely, yes.
So
There was an arcade game at the time of Spy Hunter.
this
was very
was, I think it was like Spy Hunter 3 remix or something.
I'm sure. Electric Boogaloo.
But you would drive
Tokyo
up into the
Drift.
back of in the back of this truck.
Yeah.
And you were a spy and you had this car that could change into a boat, it could change into
Oh,
a plane,
right.
it could
Yes,
change
yes,
into
yes,
a
yes. I remember the
motorcycle.
boat, yeah.
And you would drive up while like to end a mission, you would drive up into the
I
back
do
of this
remember
trailer.
that. Yes, and the arcade game was exactly the same
yeah,
way.
which
When
is
you
super
ended
cool.
when you ended a
According to Car and Driver magazine, KITT was originally intended to be a modified Datsun 280ZX.
really.
Which is interesting, yeah. But General Motors recently introduced the F-body Firebird Trans Am, which was substituted in pre-production.
It would have been really hard to get David Hasselhoff into a Datsun. What was it? You said a Datsun or
Datsun 280ZX. Yeah.
I don't know if he could have gotten into one of those. Those
They're
are
about the same size as my RX-7.
yeah, but
Yeah.
your RX-7. I mean,
it's small, yeah.
it's small.
Yeah. No, it is.
So it would be.
Which apparently, I think he already complained about the crampedness of KITT as it is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So KITT was designed by customizer Michael Scheffe, SCHEFFE.
Okay.
Scheffe?
I don't know.
Who also designed the DeLorean for Universal
wow.
Studios productions of Back to the Future.
Wow,
The
okay.
convertible and Super Pursuit kits were designed and built by George Barris.
Wow. Okay. So, shout out to George Barris.
Shout
Yeah.
out to him.
Yeah.
Throughout season 1, there's another car that appears regularly besides KITT and Devon's Mercedes convertible. It's a red 1974 AMC Gremlin X, possibly one of the crew's personal vehicles.
Ah.
It was never used in a supporting role, but only as a vehicular extra, usually driving away from the camera. So
Really?
if you want to go back and watch Knight Rider, you could spot apparently this
Okay.
1974 AMC Gremlin all over the place.
Yeah.
Which I did notice in the biker gang episode.
Yeah.
There's a police chase and there's a gang fight, and it was filmed on the same corner in the same neighborhood because the RX-7's in the background for both shots.
No.
And I'm like, I don't know if that was intentional or not. Or if they just they're like, well, we have this neighborhood blocked off for the next hour and a half, so if we want to just get it done.
By the way, my trivia said that Kit was originally a Little Tikes car. Little red, little.
You had to push it. They gave Michael bionic legs.
Yeah.
Although
That was his legs.
Although widely believed to have never appeared on screen during an episode of Knight Rider, William Daniels, the voice of Kit, does appear briefly in the pilot episode as an uncredited car thief.
What?
This man never got a credit for this show.
For what? He was a car thief?
He was a car thief in the pilot episode.
In the pilot.
Yes.
That we saw. Right? Was that the
I
pilot that
think.
we saw? I mean, I figured it was episode 1,
Yeah.
but I mean, the origin story was what we saw.
Yeah. So
And so I don't know. Car thief, though, there was only those 2 car thieves that I know of, and they weren't.
I don't know.
Neither one of them was William Daniels or whatever that guy's.
This is what IMDb says. So
or Stone Cold Steve Austin.
jeez. Interestingly, the Trans Am body is actually designed for speeds up to 300 miles an hour from the
What?
factory.
Seriously?
Meaning that the airfoils in Kit's Super Pursuit mode are actually unnecessary.
Oh.
A Trans Am with totally standard body proved this at the Bonneville Salt Flats during Speed Week, where one actually hit 300 miles an hour.
No.
Yeah. Which is actually like, there's an RX-7 that did like 265.
How could that be? How can you get a?
I don't know what engine they.
Yeah, I was gonna
it's
say.
not the stock engine.
Okay,
It's not stock underneath at all.
Okay.
It's probably honestly a tube chassis with the shell thrown on top of it.
Okay.
But
All right,
a stock body.
All right. Okay. That it could actually do that
did
speed.
300. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
However, Kit's altered configuration gave him greater maneuverability at higher speeds. Universal Studios had approximately 23 cars in total, but there are only 5 genuine Kit cars left in the world, as the rest were destroyed by the productions upon the promise to General Motors, who supplied a surplus of vehicles that couldn't be sold to the public when they were involved in a train derailment en route to dealerships in California.
Oh
So,
my goodness! Wow.
So that actually happens a fair amount. Not a fair amount, but
Train derailments?
Well, no, but like when cars are involved in accidents and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or recently, actually, there was a tornado at the Corvette factory.
Was there really?
And any car in production inside that factory, inside or out in the parking lot, had to be scrapped
wow.
legally, because if they sold that car and it has a defect down the road,
Yeah.
then
okay.
it's a lawsuit.
All right. I can. See
So
that, I guess,
what ended
yeah.
up happening, I guess, is that I guess GM just gave them a bunch of these cars that were in this train wreck. And so then they fitted them like Kit.
Gotcha. But they couldn't.
But they couldn't
sell
sell them
them or keep 'em or
afterwards
whatever,
because it's illegal.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. I understand that now. I get what you're saying. So,
Of the remaining vehicles, some have to be heavily modified and restored and are held in private collections, but many replicas are often listed as genuine by unscrupulous sellers, but lack certain markings of the originals.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it would be. I mean, that would be a fun car to do.
Yeah.
That would be a fun car.
Oh
to
yeah, there's a
build
guy
and-
on TikTok who's building one right now.
Oh, cool.
And he bought
Yeah.
parts off of a guy who has, I think, number 4 or something.
Wow.
Like the real kit.
Yeah, the real kit. Yeah.
So allegedly, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
But this last one,
Which is crazy. It has a flux capacitor in it. I don't know how that worked, but yeah.
this last trivia fact is actually pretty wild. Might be one of the most wild trivia facts we have.
Okay,
And I
all right.
actually fact checked it,
And
and
it-
it is true.
It is true.
I did
okay,
my fact
this is
checking
true.
research
All right, let's
because
see.
I didn't believe it.
All right.
David Hasselhoff's ex-wife, Catherine Hicklin, starred in 3 Knight Rider episodes. After their divorce, so
Yeah.
she divorced David Hasselhoff.
Okay.
She went on to marry a soap opera star
Okay.
named Michael Knight.
No.
Yes. Michael E. Knight. So not
Oh
middle initials wrong.
my
But
gosh.
David Hasselhoff's wife divorced him and married someone actually named Michael Knight.
What the is that?
How wild
Yeah, that's
is that?
just crazy. That is crazy.
So
That is bizarre. I would not have believed that at all. I
yeah,
would think
I
someone
had to
made that
do-
up.
I had to do some research.
I can smell what the Stone's cooking. Yeah.
Yeah, smell with the
But
So that's all I have for you.
right.
That's all I have
All right,
for
sounds
Knight
good.
Rider. I actually really enjoyed the series.
It's fun. It is fun.
Um,
There's no doubt about it. It's bubblegum.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it. It's just fun.
I'm very glad we did this.
I'm too.
I will be leaving it on over the next couple of
All right,
days. I
well,
have
good.
a lot of editing in front of me.
So, the question, if it was on, would you turn the channel? Yours
No,
is
I think
no.
I'd just
you would
let it
leave
play.
on. Yeah, I probably wouldn't turn the channel. I might sit down and watch it just
Yeah,
because
depending
it's just
on the
fun.
episode, sure.
Yeah, it depends on the episode, but again, because it's a mindless show, you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's not very deep.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not gonna-
You don't have to think much about it, and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So the next movie
Yes.
is one that also you don't have to think too much about. You're going
Okay.
to enjoy this one, I think. I don't know if you've ever seen this one before. It's definitely a movie.
Okay. It's definitely a movie.
It's
Cool.
definitely a movie. It's
Yes.
not a
Okay.
TV show. We were
All
talking
right.
about TV
Yeah,
shows.
that's fair, that's fair, that's fair,
It's
that's
not a documentary.
All right.
Okay, I got kind of Charlie Day there
Yeah.
a second. Yeah. So, by the way, It's Always Sunny is one of my favorite shows.
Have you listened to the podcast yet?
I have.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I
good.
listen to a bunch of shows
Yeah.
that they're fun to listen to.
Yeah, they're great.
So the next movie is Batman 1966.
Oh.
The 1966 version of Batman.
I thought it was a show.
It was a show, but they made a movie.
Okay.
So
With
we're
the
gonna
original
watch it
Batmobile?
with the original
Cool.
Batmobile. So you're gonna see the actual movie. Super campy.
Okay.
Really, really campy. Fun for me. It's 1966, the year I was born.
Yeah.
So this to me is like it's one of those. It's comfort food for me. Like
Yeah.
I watched this movie. It's funny.
Another
all
George
that.
Barris creation.
Definitely George
Yeah,
Barris.
this is like quintessential
absolutely.
George
Yes,
Barris. Probably
it
his
is,
most
yeah.
famous piece.
It is definitely
At least
so.
in the TV world. I know he
Yeah.
did a lot of one-off custom
But-
and stuff, but yeah.
For us, Apple TV has it. We're gonna have to rent it from Apple TV, but no big deal.
Okay.
Definitely worth it. I would actually buy this movie if I could because it's so iconic to me. It was.
This is your favorite Batmobile.
It is absolutely hands down
actually,
my favorite Batmobile.
If you go to our YouTube channel, we built one out of Legos last Christmas.
Oh, we did. That's right.
That was
yes,
our
in
Christmas
fact,
special.
It's up there.
Of which,
Did you see
by
it?
the way,
It's up at the
Oh,
top.
yeah.
See, it's up there.
they have in that same scale. They just released a Countach.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's only
that's
$20.
cool. Oh, that's
I was
not
gonna
bad.
grab it the other day, but I didn't have my wallet.
All right.
And then they released a full scale Back to the Future DeLorean
Oh,
with Doc and
wow.
Marty. Not full scale.
Well,
sorry.
Jeez. It's 64,000 pieces.
No. It's like
That would be awesome.
it's actual minifigure
Yeah.
scale.
Oh, okay,
it's-
minifig,
it's-
yeah.
It's bigger than the Batmobile that we did.
All
I
right, but
think.
that would be pretty cool too. I've seen versions. I would love to. There's actually a 3D printable version of the DeLorean, which I would.
Oh,
like
we
to
should
build.
do that.
Yeah, definitely. That would be a fun thing to do. But yeah. So this one is absolutely hands down my favorite Batmobile of all time. And second is the new Batmobile. I'm
Yeah, I
telling
know,
you,
you really
I'm
liked
telling you
it.
the new Batmobile
Yeah.
is my second favorite. The other ones are
Yeah.
Tumblr is the. I'll give you my whole list.
Yeah.
Next time
No,
for
it's
that
good.
episode. But that's what we're doing for next time. So
I'm
please,
yawning because I'm
don't-
smelling what the stone is cooking. I'm getting hit by the fumes from the stone.
I'm
Stone
sorry.
warm Steve Dallas. The stone warm Steve Dallas. I think I'm getting that right.
All right, fine.
All
Make
right.
fun of me. I don't know that stuff. Anyway,
Thank you guys so much for listening. We're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. We
Yep.
are there every Saturday morning at
Yep.
8 a.m. Central Standard Time for your Saturday morning cartoon enjoyment.
Yes.
But thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode with Batman from 1966.
All right. Bye bye.